Hello, my name's JP Mantey. I work at Icertis. Icertis is an enterprise-wide contract management system, a rapidly growing startup, if you can still say that. We're in the pre-IPO stage and have grown from a little engine that could into a rocket ship, and I head up sales enablement globally. What we do is leverage AI to extract all of the data in your most important contracts, bring it alive, and help people make smarter decisions and drive smarter business processes in connection with the other systems they may use. The big challenge is, how do we continue to evolve that ecosystem as a sales organization and make sure enablement is both out in front of what's coming next, and also making sure no salesperson is left behind, as we're in this remote global dynamic and it's easy to get lost and there's a lot to manage. So before Highspot, it was doing the best we could with Microsoft Teams or SharePoint. And we went through a bit of a maturity model where, as the organization started to grow, and the way I think about it is, there was information that fit into kind of three buckets. One was external facing content that marketing would create and could be leveraged for, sharing with customers to advance their thinking on their buying journey, looking at a contract management system. The other bucket would be internal facing material that was for knowledge transfer, internal enablement, the real insights that share the journey of a customer that may not be an external facing narrative, but is very helpful for a salesperson to understand the real reason behind why someone bought. And then the third piece is, like, once customers go live and actually get implemented, what's the downstream value they have 6-12 months after an implementation that we can actually pull back into some of the marketing or sales material. So what sales enablement platforms do we evaluate? I looked at a number of different ones, so specifically including Seismic and Showpad and MindTickle, and I think there were a few others. And then there's some platforms that have a bit of blended functionality around different things. And I think there's more and more confusion now for a buyer that says, hey, for example, MindTickle, are you a like chorus or gong type call recorder technology? Or are you a learning management system, an LMS? Or are you a content management system that is focused on sales enablement? And so in a lot of ways, they're trying to be all three, but I believe they started more in the LMS part of the world. And then you have other companies that are trying to branch out. And so when you're just looking at vendors, it's hard to tell from their website what was their original DNA or what is their real ingrained strength that they're building on versus trying to diversify and just add more functionality. So we looked at that and we're trying to uncover, hey, for our needs, what's the best alignment? And I think a lot of these technologies are great because in some ways they're all better than what you currently have. When I talked about investing in something that would help us scale before we needed to, or at a level beyond what we needed, Highspot, both as a reputation and from my judgment in the evaluation process, thought about enablement differently. And so the thought leadership and the strategy behind the platform was highly focused on content management on steroids with a seller's mindset behind it. So all about helping people sell smarter and helping the buyer's journey as opposed to just the seller's journey. And so I thought that a lot of the thought leadership that they shared in both their materials and in the way that our dialogue went and demos ultimately showed this holistic perspective around designing a platform that created an experience for people in the buyer's journey that was very sophisticated and beyond anything that I had seen. That was really heavily influenced by the conversations I had in the back channels with other sales enablement leaders that had used Seismic. And so I think, just candidly, as a buyer, when you go and look at websites, everything's bright and shiny and everything's amazing. And it's hard to get the reality of what it's like gonna be. What is it gonna be like 2 or 3 years down the line in this partnership? And what is it gonna be like as the champion of this? I'm putting my butt on the line to invest in this technology. How's implementation gonna go? What kind of support am I gonna have? How strategic is the roadmap to actually help us evolve our enablement team and platform internally as part of leveraging downstream product roadmap insights? Like, pretty much Highspot created functionality that made me look better before I knew I needed it. Process around actually selecting Highspot and then driving the internal decision to get it was met with a lot of resistance, mainly because of other priorities that we're already committed to across marketing. And I knew for enablement to be able to get to the next level and to help us scale, we needed a platform and we needed Highspot. And I had done my research both through the sales process with Highspot and, like I said, about back channel references with other users and enablement leaders. And I was sold on Highspot as the thing that I was going to put my hide behind actually investing in. There were a few different dynamics, like in any sales process, where I became the champion for Highspot within Icertis, and I saw the value and I felt confident from speaking to other customers about their experience to then sit in front of my CRO and not leave the room until he ultimately agreed to make this investment, because it was actually aligned with helping him and the sales organization meet the goals that were set out in front of us, even though that wasn't always easy to see. I remember meeting the person, Barrett at Highspot, at a marketing event that I went to, who was gonna be our implementation expert. And I kind of looked him in the eye and was like, I'm making a big bet and I want to make sure you're in this with me. And I couldn't have been luckier to get someone like Barrett and Highspot in the foxhole with me, because everything went very seamless, and the level of professionalism for them as an organization and how much care I felt as somebody that had put my butt on the line. I felt like I had a real partner, and I wasn't just, oh, now that you signed off on the dotted line, like, good luck, and here's some documentation to help you. They were there every step of the way to help with the heavy lifting, to think about things strategically, to help us do things in a smart way the first time, and to adapt and adjust as needed with full support. And that's been the journey. That wasn't just like oh, you're a new customer. I mean, that's been going on 4 years of partnership with them now. One, connect with peers and look at, whether it's Sales Enablement Pro or the Sales Enablement Society, there are these networks of people that are out there trying to do what you're trying to do within organizations. And a lot of people have different experiences and everything else. I would say if you're looking to scale, then you want to make sure you're asking the right questions. And like I said, when you start to look at vendors' web pages and whatnot, and they all sound and look the same in a lot of ways, and it's hard to distinguish signal from noise around what's real versus kind of slideware. Getting the right questions, understanding what your organization needs, understanding kind of the maturity model of where you are and where you're trying to get to, and then making sure that you have third-party validation from your enablement peers around investing in a solution that has proven value and proven success outcomes and driven business outcomes beyond a cute video that you can watch on YouTube that looks really fancy. So that's what Highspot's been for us. It's been a partner to drive business outcomes. We've been in hypergrowth and are selling more every quarter than we did the quarter before. And all of that is connected to ultimately the use of Highspot and our ability to scale with the platform as we scale as an organization. So some of the business outcomes that we've been able to drive impact around from a sales perspective hit a few different areas. One is we can now measure how long it takes for a rep to find what they're looking for. And we can also measure how long prospects engage with different content or when they don't and or when they share it. That becomes timely, like I said, for a good time to reach out. Might be right after an executive just viewed what you sent them. And simultaneously, if they're not viewing it and they're not calling you back, you might need to come up with a strategic response that can actually advance the deal. But the important indication is don't just keep doing what you're doing, waiting. And what we've seen is when we ask our customers, hey, why did you buy from us? A big answer that we commonly get is you were thoughtful not only in the information that you presented, and you made it easy for us to, digest that and share it internally, but you always got our questions answered in a timely manner. And I think that's a cultural element of us as consultative sellers, but it's also how easy is it for a sales rep to self-service going and finding questions to answers that may not be in the front of their mind. And there's a very good chance that they can find whatever they need within Highspot, given how we've dynamically organized all the content. And what enables that to happen is the speed of everything around finding the right information, sharing it, making sure it's consumed, and then reinforcing that or following up in a thoughtful way. I think Highspot has really helped us do that and have analytics on, how can we do it smarter the next time. The other thing is with the ability to build out plays. As we're verticalizing and as we're selling into different personas and even working with different partners, and as COVID drove all of us fully remote, the opportunity to pivot, like we created like a COVID play. And that was just simply something to think about as like the great structure of no say show. And what does the salesperson need to know about this play and how to execute it?